Yes.
And if that happens to go that way.
I'm sitting here and I've got my back to that camera.
Is that a
I
good
know,
thing
I'm
or not?
thinking that with me. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, so apologies about the camera.
Is it live yet?
It's just started, so it's live. Now, the only people that will ever see this are the five of us,
Thank you.
or people that Maxine hires. But other than that, that's it. Or anybody you share the link with. So it's up to you. So the amount of privacy is in your hands. Whereas I won't share it with anyone except Maxine, and then Maxine will share it with you. Okay? So once this video is done, after today, I will host this on a private YouTube channel. You can only access it with the link, which you'll have. Okay? Okay, good. Is everybody okay, settled, ready to go?
Yeah,
Shall we
good.
let's make a start. Right.
I'm alright.
Yeah, have you got drinks?
Yeah, I'll just some water.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm literally just playing it.
Okay, let's get started. So, some bits here. Yeah, so we had a quick conversation before. Everybody knows why we're here.
Yeah.
Good. So today we're going to run through a sales training program. So I'm going to introduce you to the framework that you saw. If you saw the webinar that I did with Rightmove, I'll give you the headlines of that framework in that webinar. Today we're going to go through it in detail, and we're going to get a chance to walk through every step of it and practice what it takes to use that framework when you're with customers. Because if you use a model that's proven, you will get better results with your client interactions. Okay? So we're going to increase your conversion rates. We're going to help you to get better dealing with customers. You'll also get more confident. You'll just feel more confident when you're with people because you'll be following a system that you know works. Okay? But a lot of it also, so I always start with kind of mindset and belief. A lot of it is about what you believe about yourself and what's possible for you in the world. So many of our kind of beliefs and thoughts are programmed from childhood. When you look at where most people's beliefs come from, they're formed before the age of 12, right? And then when you think about that, you think, oh, before the age of 12, well, you don't actually start thinking consciously until you're around 4. So most of us have made our minds up about what's possible in an 8-year period. And then we spend the rest of our lives programmed with those beliefs. So start to think about that, not just today, but beyond today, because you're capable of almost anything. And what we'll put in place today is structure that will help you to really start to leverage your own skills, not just in selling. So today we'll talk about how you deal with clients and how you sell and influence people. But it's not just about dealing with clients. You can use this everywhere in your lives, influencing anybody. Okay? So just have that in mind.
Men, women.
Anybody, right? But also partners, children, parents, peers, colleagues, bosses, teams. No, but the principles sound right the way across. So we'll go through that as we go through the day. So this is what we're going to do. We'll start with some introductions in a second. Then we'll just do some principles and frameworks to set yourself up to win and prepare yourself for success. Then we're going to go through the system. It's called Inspire, which you may have seen. Each one of the letters of the word Inspire is a step in the process. So you can remember the process just by going back to the word itself. So it's a mnemonic, and each letter is a step. So the I is insight and impact, the N is needs discovery and questioning, the S is a solutions discussion, the P is proposal agreement, the I is immediate action, and the RE is reflection. And that's about continual improvement and development of yourself, your skills, and your growth. Okay? Because, and you know, this is important, we'll get to it when we get there, but at the end of the day, really all you've got is what you've learned and how you develop. It's the most important thing in your life. And if you haven't had the opportunity to tap into that until now, hopefully today inspires you to do that going forward, because that's where the kind of magic really happens. You just continually grow and develop. Okay, and then we do a wrap up, final questions and closing. We will be done by, Shanice, you've got a viewing at?
I think it's 3:30.
3:30, okay, so we will need to finish by
I think
3.
I've just looked
Is
actually.
it later than that?
I think the valuation's at 3:30.
4:30.
Half four.
Half 4,
That's
okay,
fine.
okay, so half 4.
Yeah.
And how far away from here is that? How much time do you need?
10,
minutes at that sort of time. I'd say 10 15 minutes at the most.
Okay, so we'll aim for 3, but if it's half 3, because I just want to make sure we get everything
Oh
in.
yeah, that'd be plenty.
Half 3 is
As
okay.
long as we finish by 4, half an hour.
Yeah, that'd be
gives us
plenty.
time.
Yeah, of course.
Perfect, thank you. That's great. So this is what we go through today. So first and foremost, we talked about some confidentiality, but I'll come back to that now. Not only is the video only going to be accessed by you, everything we talk about today is confidential. It does not leave this room. Okay. So from my perspective, nobody hears about this session.
Yeah.
Unless you want me to publicise that I've worked with you guys, in which case we'll do something about that. But other than that, no one hears about the detail. Same way that anything you share today, any concerns you have, any things that come up, any things that are tripping you up, if you share it in the room today, it's a safe environment. Okay, so doesn't go outside of this session. Okay. Okay. If anything comes up that we need to park, we will park. So we don't want to go down rabbit holes today. If there's stuff that comes up and say, actually, I'm not sure where that fits with today's programme, we'll make a note, we'll capture it, and then we'll move on. Okay? It will be interactive, so there'll be lots of chances to try what we're talking about. I'd also like you to question all the way through. Okay, so don't wait until the end of sessions if you've got questions. If you say, actually, I'm not sure about that, Justin, or it doesn't make sense, or in my experience is different from that, just bring it up as and when, because it's important that you address those things as they come to your mind. We will stay on track, but if we go off track, I will bring us back on track. If I go off track, it doesn't happen very often, but if I go off track, or if I'm not bringing us back on track, all of our responsibility to go, hold on a minute, I'm not sure that's where we need to go today. Okay? So we've all got this responsibility to keep on track. Okay? Accept that?
That's fine.
Good, excellent. We talked about fire alarms. We'll have plenty of breaks. If at any point you feel like I just need 5 minutes, or I just need to get away from you, Justin, for an hour, that's absolutely fine. Right? I'm not precious. I don't have an ego. It will be absolutely fine. So if you do leave, if you say right, I just need a break, it's fine. And we'll keep mobile phones and stuff in the breaks if you need to go and check stuff. But otherwise, we'll keep them to a minimum if that's all right.
Yeah.
I think that's everything. Okay, so advance warning. I'm going to come around the room and just ask you these questions in a minute. Okay?
Yep.
So I'm just going to ask you to give me your perspective on that after this. But I'll go first. So I'm Justin Lee. I live in St Neots in Cambridgeshire. So it's a nice little place, little town, market town. Very nice. It's about an hour and a half away, which is pretty good actually for most of my travels. That's pretty good. This is my family. I'm married to my wife Katie. This is my daughter Grace, who is 22. This is my son Robbie, who is 19, and this is my dog George, who is 14. So that's my family. This is something I believe firmly. You can do anything as long as you have the passion, the drive, the focus, and the support. If you have that, you can achieve literally anything. My background is business, sales, marketing, and in the last 2 years since I set up my own business, I do executive coaching and training, and it's all about helping people to grow their business. And I work with quite a few agents, but I work with lots of different businesses as well. And the beauty of that is I see things that enable me to take that across different industries. So I can say to an agent, for example, well, I know you don't do this in agency, but think about this. Just gives you an external perspective that you can't get if you stay in one market. So that's what I do, and I love this sort of stuff. Training people, coaching, helping you learn, develop, and I see myself as the kind of catalyst to ignite stuff in people, and that's brilliant because you then become capable of so much more. So that's my intention today, is to kind of ignite a flame in you. And then you can take that and kind of keep it burning for the rest of your lives. Right, okay. So let's do a quick round of introductions. Who would like to start us off? What I'm after is your name, your role in the business, how long you've been doing it, what you love most about it, like not what I like about it a little bit, what you love most about it, what really ignites your fire, and what's the one thing very few people know about you?
We spoke to you yesterday, didn't we? Yeah.
Oh, you did this yesterday, did you?
Kind of. Louise told us something about herself that we didn't know. And I said, wow, when I get asked that question, I do never know.
I hope you thought
Louise
about
got
it
to
last
laugh
night.
about
Made
it.
you think about it last night. You answer it today.
So you had 12 hours notice, right?
Literally, who knew?
God,
then I'll start. We'll
Brilliant. Come on, Louise.
So
Yeah,
I'm
thank you.
Louise. I am a new sales negotiator for Wilson's. I've been doing about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. The thing I love most about it, I've previously done a little bit of viewings for another agent, but in this role I get to take it from the beginning of taking the people, booking the viewings, doing the viewings and seeing it through to completion, and people ended up in their new home. So that is the bit that I'm really looking forward to seeing.
Yeah.
I really want to see people move forward into their new homes and see it to completion, because obviously once you did the viewing, that was kind of it. I lost touch with who bought it, see the sold sign, who bought it, you know, when did they move in, and I lost touch with that side. So that's the bit I'm really looking forward to, seeing people right through to completion.
Brilliant.
So yeah, and
Brilliant.
one thing very people know about me, well I'll reuse that one again. I am related to a stunt driver called Russ Swift, who did the advert for Continental Tyres on the rooftop of the skyscraper. I also used to live next door to Lee Hurst, who used to play for Cov City.
You live next door to him now?
No, he's moved now,
Has
but
he?
yes, he lives on the A5. But yes, I used to live next door to Lee Hurst.
Yeah. Oh,
So
wow.
that's 2.
I've got a story to link with that.
Have you?
Right, okay, good. Do you want to go next, Maxine?
No. You go on, you go next, Joe.
Come on, Joe.
My name's Joe, and I'm the lettings negotiator. I originally came from commercial, which I did for just over 2 years. So I've only actually done lettings for about 2.5 months now. About 2 months. What I like most about the job is the customer satisfaction more than anything. I get off, if you will, by delivering good customer service.
Yeah.
And I enjoy the fact that it's something different every day. And you know, it's there's a variety to do within the role. One thing very few people know about me is my surname's Russell, but it was originally Rusnov.
Oh my God.
At quite a, this is going back like decades. My dad's side of the family was originally from Russia. But they were Jewish heritage. So during the war, they moved to London and they changed their name to
Russell.
Russell.
Wow.
That's wicked. That's going to be your nickname, that is now.
Russell.
Come on, Russ, let's get moving.
Motivational name.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Oh, bless you.
I can't believe that is something big.
I struggle to look at Joe like he's 19. I'm seriously, I look at him and I think, you know,
He's quite manly, isn't he?
relatable sort of ages.
Yeah.
sort of
How old are
30s.
you, Joe?
19.
19.
You wouldn't think it, would you? He's so mature for his
Oh,
age
very
and
mature,
everything.
yeah.
Thank you.
Wow, 19, that's, yeah, I'd have put you in the
Yeah,
mid-20s.
yeah.
Well, that's a good thing, it's not, I'm not saying you look
Yeah.
old.
No,
Don't dig too big a hole with.
You
That's good,
forget
thank you
how
very much,
young
Joe.
you are, but yeah.
Yeah, very mature for his age.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, good, thank you.
Yeah, that's
Positive.
Thank you, Joe, excellent. Yeah, okay, Shanice.
My name's Shanice. I've been doing sales valuing for the past 2 months now, roughly. It's quite a new role to me. I was previously sales negotiating, that's been for 3 years. What I enjoy about the valuing though is going out meeting new people every day, but also winning their business, winning them over, especially when there's other agents going out to them as well.
Yeah,
I love knowing that they chose me out of everyone.
yeah.
It's a good thing. Something that people don't know about me, there isn't much, however, if something has sprung to mind.
Good.
I don't tell everyone this because I don't know if I'm proud of it. My grandpa told me the other week. I originate from Romania.
Oh, wow.
You didn't know that, did you?
No.
You knew me for like 3 years, but yeah.
Oh,
Grandpa
wow.
was like, everyone always asks us, why are you one of the dark ones in the family? Because everyone's like ginger, fair haired, light eyes. So everyone was saying, why are you like the dark one in the family? And my grandpa is as well, and I've got a couple of cousins that are out of a massive family. But yeah, we originate from Romania.
It's because of that gene.
Yeah, a long, long way back, but yeah.
That's cool.
Excellent.
So what's your surname?
Dumbleton.
Okay, do you know what the family name was?
No.
No, there you go, there's your next challenge.
Yeah,
Same
so I
for
did that.
Happy to do your
I was
family
just about to
tree.
say, was
Yeah,
it?
someone who used to work for us does family tree. She did mine. Yeah, so yeah, it was very interesting. Yeah, apparently when Jack the Ripper. This is not a story about me, so it's not my one thing that you should know. But my family lived next door to Jack the Ripper.
Oh, wow.
At the time, he was doing whatever he was doing.
God,
Yeah,
blimey.
yeah. found that out in the history, yeah, I was like, sure, I said, oh, have you found any, like, rich relatives?
But
But I did find out the about that.
they were probably safe, as close. You probably want to be as close to someone as possible
Yeah.
in that situation.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
just good knowledge, you can be honest.
Isn't
That's
it?
good. No, thank you. Well, thank you, Shanice. And I like something you said about, and I like all your motivations for doing it, because the motivation, why do you love what you do, is important, because that's what drives motivation. But I love when you said, knowing that they'd seen all those people and they chose me.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's
Yeah.
what selling is all about, being the chosen provider. It's not about selling, it's about being chosen. Really important. That's great. Thank you. So,
Excellent.
Maxine.
Me? Well, my name's Maxine, and as you all know, I've been in the directing role for Wilson's for 7 years, but I've been doing it for 27 years. So get this for murder. What do I love most about it? I really love helping people. Really love helping people. You know, and people like solicitors kind of say, oh well, you know, can't do this, we can't do that. I'm like, yeah, you can. And you're gonna watch now. So yeah, I love that about it. I really do love helping people, and I think that's my passion. Is really, I mean, you know, in the early days when we set up the business, when people come to us and have had bad experience, we just like turn that on its head. So yeah, so helping people would definitely be my big thing. What's the one thing that very few people know about me? I don't know whether they would probably not know, but I'm related to Callum Wilson, who plays for England. He's my nephew.
Ah.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Did you not know that?
No.
Oh, there we go.
Another claim to fame. Look at that.
Yeah, and I used to go out with Lee Hurst.
Did you?
Did you?
Years ago, yeah, back in the day.
Did you used to meet him at Carey's and things?
Before he went out with his wife.
Natasha?
Yeah, back in the day. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's why you wanted to know where he lived.
Yeah.
This is still
What High Street on the
She's
A5
so
now?
lovely. So I'm really good friends with her sister.
Oh, his
So-
sister's lovely. They've
Yeah.
got a little boy called Teddy or something.
Yeah.
I think they named him after that footballer, Teddy Sheringham, is it?
Oh, did they?
I
Yeah.
don't know. Football.
Yeah, she's lovely. But yeah, yes, there we go.
Very good. You're a mind full of facts and figures. I feel like I'm in the presence of greatness. This is brilliant.
Well, welcome.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm the one that's now privileged. Thank you very much. Well, that's great. So hopefully the other thing that, so there's a lesson in here, right? The lesson in here are these two questions. Okay? And the reason these two questions are important is because this is about finding your motivation. And sometimes, unless you ask someone, you know, what do you love most about your job, you don't take the time to stop and think. The other thing you could say, if I have sessions with people where they go, I'm not sure I love anything about my job, which is really interesting in itself.
Yeah.
So then I say, well, what could you love about your job? Right? And the lesson there is that the questions you ask will elicit the answers you want. Right? We're going to do that a lot today. The questions you ask will elicit the answers you want. This is really important because what's the one thing very few people know about you? Bless you. Is one of those questions that again very few people ask, but it also makes you realise that whatever question you ask will be answered.
Yeah.
If you say to someone about their house, what is the most inspiring thing you have done over the last few years of living in your current house? If you could only say one thing to people about how great this house has been, what would it be? You can ask any question you want. There's no limit. There is no limit. So the questions you ask will do a number of things. They'll unlock things in your client's mind, and they will make you look completely different from anyone else that walks through the door, just by asking the right high quality questions, which we'll get to at the right time. But this is early, be thinking about this early. There's questions you can ask anything you want. And the questions you ask very often are the things that will differentiate you and create and unlock opportunity. Okay. So I think I'm going to flick through this because if you've watched this webinar, did you watch the webinar?
Yes.
You saw these statistics, right?
Yes.
Okay. There's a couple of things in here that are worth recapping on. This one. 80% of sales require 5 follow-up calls after the meeting. So you can have a meeting with someone, sit face to face, feel like it's gone really well, walk away, follow up and not get a response. You think, what did I do? actually that person's world is probably a tsunami of activity, and you've got to break through the noise. So actually continuing to follow up, making sure your follow-ups are persistent and engaging is also important. Okay? The other one is this one here. So they don't happen on email, they happen over the phone. The majority of those interactions that get your client along the journey with you happen over the phone. And it might be that I'm teaching you to suck eggs here, but the amount of people I deal with where they go, well, I sent an email to follow up, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
You all know how many emails you get.
Yeah.
I hate email.
It just becomes, it's like, and you know, it's a necessary evil, right? But if you're focusing in on your client, you do it either face to face when possible or over the phone, because that's, you can actually create part of yourself, create the relationship, you be there, be present in a way you can't over email. Okay? And then these two are interesting as well. People remember stories much more than statistics. Statistics start a conversation. You can kickstart an interaction with a statistic. It's good for that. But what people really remember are the stories. The stories you tell them about things that you've done for people, the response you had, the emotions. So you can build all of that in, okay? And then finally, using social media as a vehicle to promote your brand, to promote yourself, to connect with people more deeply, will mean you will outsell your peers. It doesn't necessarily just mean promoting Wilson's through the social platforms. It means once you're in a relationship with a client, connect with them. Build something personal beyond just the interaction. Okay? Okay. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of what they call the conscious competency model. It's basically a training model. This is the process we all go through when we learn something new. So today you're going to learn a lot of new stuff. And you're going to go through this model. The way it works is that I start in this box here, where it's this, I'm unconsciously incompetent. I don't know what I don't know. So today we'll introduce you to the INSPIRE model, and up until the point you saw it, you didn't even know that existed. Okay, so you're unconsciously incompetent. You then go to consciously incompetent. I now know what I don't know. All right, there's a model, but I don't know how to use it. So you're self-aware and awakened. Then you go to, I now know, so consciously competent. I now know what I need to do, and if I really concentrate, I can do it. Remember the first time you drove a car, talking about our children driving. When you first drove a car, and someone says, right, sit in, buckle up, yes, right, and then they go, right, start the car. That's the clutch, yeah, right, okay, that's the brake, that's the acceleration. Right, there's the gears, oh shit, and then it starts to rain, and then you need to indicate, and then you need to do an emergency start. So, right, now, life's like that. As we learn things, you spend a lot of time in this box, and you have to do things quite a lot before you drop into this box, which is what they call unconsciously competent. The way our brains work is that we filter out a load of stuff that we don't need, and we go onto autopilot quite quickly.
Yeah.
The problem is when you go onto autopilot with the bad habits. So if you go on autopilot with things that don't work, you'll just keep repeating the things that don't work. So today's an opportunity to kind of press that reset button on things that you're doing that maybe don't work. Think about how you change them to things that do work, but recognise that it might take a bit of doing, because you'll be here, kind of going, right, okay, yeah, I need to do that instead of this. And your brain does, so to do this is what you do to get through the boxes, but your unconscious mind, all your habits and behaviours are constantly bringing you back to what you want, the way that you were performing before. So it does take a bit of conscious effort. It's why groups like this work best, and also helping each other. So beyond today, as you start to think about implementing the changes that we talked about, be open with each other about if you're spotting people slip back into habits, help and support each other to go, oh, do you remember Justin said, or do you remember we agreed, or whatever. Don't take it as criticism, don't take it as finding fault. Actually, it's about helping you to do the right thing so that the business thrives going forward, okay? And underpinned, what really drives that is motivation. I want to change it. I want to change because I want to deliver the best for my clients, for customers. I want to talk about what motivates you and what you love. Okay, so let's cover some quick fundamentals. You, agents, salespeople, you will be successful if your client wants to buy. Your client doesn't always know they want to buy. from you. They don't always realise that you're the one. But that's why we follow a process, because then they will. The client likes you. Okay? You will be successful if your clients like you. And I know that sounds really obvious, but in order to get them to like you, there are things you can do. We'll talk about that as we go through the programme. You understand what and how your client wants to buy. So they want to buy, they like you, and you understand what and how they want to buy. I know that sounds obvious, right? But bear with me. You'll also be successful if you understand your client's needs. Not only what and how they want to buy, but what they need. And when I say needs, I mean their reason for buying, their preferences and their own motivation. Why do they want to do what they're doing? What are their preferences as they go through that? And what's their big reason for moving, buying, or whatever it is that they engage with you in. And that you ask the right questions at the right time. Ask the right questions at the right time. That you listen carefully. After you've asked the right question, you don't then tune out. Okay, some of this stuff's obvious, right? But there's a phrase that I use a lot. Common sense isn't necessarily common practice. Just because we know it doesn't mean we do it. So we have to ask the right questions, then we have to listen carefully to what people tell us. And that means sometimes being silent. And we don't do silence very well. We'll talk about silence later on, but most people don't do silence very well. We like to fill the space. And learning to become comfortable with silence is really important. We'll use quite a bit of silence today. I'm very comfortable with silence. I quite like it. And the reason I like it is because I know how valuable it is and how much space it creates. And it also tends to put very positive pressure on people. So when you ask a good question and then you're silent, so even if someone's thinking, most people will ask a question, if someone doesn't answer straight away, they then go into something else. The best thing to do is just sit and wait and hold the silence. Okay? That you also follow a sales process that you gain commitment at the right time. Not too soon, and certainly not too late. Okay? But you gain commitment at the right time. And that your clients feel like they chose you. Okay? That is how you will be successful. Teamed up very nicely there. Okay, so I covered this on the webinar. Remember we covered this 3 key parts of your proposition. So when you go and see clients or when they're engaging with you, they are assessing you in 3 ways that you don't realise they're assessing you. So this is unconscious. They're not going check, check, check. They are doing this instinctively. We all do it instinctively. Whenever we're going to buy something, whenever we're going to commit a big transaction, especially something like selling your house or buying a house, you are assessing 3 things. You're assessing the person, you as an agent or as a consultant or whatever, what you as the person they are dealing with, they're assessing you. Can you be trusted? Will you deliver what I need you to deliver? Are you knowledgeable, credible, engaged and likeable? So they're all the questions, and they're just, it's a sense. But this is what's going on in their head. Then they're going, okay, what about the service you deliver? You might be all right, but does the service you provide meet my needs? Are you going to follow up? Are you going to chase the solicitors? Are you going to be, like, yes, you are going to get this done. Right? Do I detect that in you? Do I see that you will do that as part of your service to me? Yeah? Do the contracts come out on time? Do they look all right? Are they, all that stuff. Do I like your marketing? Do I like the way that you're positioning my house? Do I like the photographs? Do all that stuff? Do I like other houses you're marketing? So they are looking at the service or the solution you provide. And then finally they're looking at your organisation. So your brand. Are you reputable? What's the feedback from other people? What are the independent ratings? How well do you deal with issues or complaints? And who are you partnering with? Which solicitors do you recommend? Which financial advisors might you put me in touch with? And is that all complementary to your brand? So all these things are happening throughout that entire transaction and that relationship you build with the client. And again, it's obvious, but we don't always think about it. And what that means is you can manage yourself. You also have to be able to very effectively position the solution that you provide provide, and you have to be able to give people reassurance and confidence around your organisation. Now, you can't change some of these other things, but you can talk about the passion of the organisation, the founder, there's things you can lay in there that just give people confidence in these three key areas. Okay? And as you're going through the process, so this is a standard model, but there's a book by Jordan Belfort, Where the Wolf, and he talks about, as well as this, doing a couple of things. He says, lower the action threshold and increase the pain threshold. And what does he mean by that? He means make it as easy for your client to deal with you as possible. Don't worry about the details, we'll handle that, we'll get the contracts out, we'll do this, we'll do that. We just lay it all out, here are the steps, this is what we do, and it's really, really easy. We take away all of the burden of administration, we do all the chasing, we do. If you lay that out to people, so the action threshold is really low, God, these guys are going to manage it all, you will be successful, right? The other thing you need to do is increase the pain threshold. And what that means is you need to understand what is the biggest issue that your client thinks they're going to face. And you can only find that out by
Asking a question.
asking the question. What's the biggest issue you think might happen throughout the process? What's your biggest concern? What's your biggest worry? And then you make sure you say, well, I appreciate why that would be a concern. You're right to be concerned about that. But don't worry, we're going to handle all the details. We'll make sure that won't happen. And if you are doing that and other people are not doing that, that one thing alone will make sure you win more business. Yeah? Obvious, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of stuff we covered is very obvious. And you will have these, not in the video, you get the electronic slide deck as well for these. I mean, take your notes here because you'll refer back to them, but you will have the full deck to go back to after today. There's three other key principles that Belfort covers in the book, and these, again, obvious, but perhaps not something we focus on. The first is, so this is about you as a person. What are people expecting? What works in sales? So the first is that you have to come across as sharp. Right? Doesn't necessarily mean you say a lot, it just means you have to appear sharp. You're not using too many words, you're not going around the block and circling on stuff, you get straight to the point, sharp. Okay? Sharp as a tack. He then says enthusiastic as hell. I think that's a bit American, but it is, isn't it? But positive and enthusiastic. Positive and enthusiastic. And the way I think about this is, if you think about having a conversation with somebody, are you leaving them after your conversation with more or less energy than when you started? Okay? So I have a conversation with you afterwards, do I feel a higher energy or lower? And we've all got people that you talk to where you're like, God, that was bloody hard work.
Yeah.
Like mood hoovers. And you might have clients that are like that, right? You might have vendors come in and you think, God, this person's hard work, right? Your job at that point is to be positive and enthusiastic. Don't worry, we're going to do this, we're going to get you through this, I know you've got reservations, but my commitment to you is, and at the end of that conversation, they should think, okay, I feel better about that. I feel more positive. You might not have actually been able to do anything in that moment, but you can reassure them and you can transmit positive energy. Right? So energy is, you will transmit energy to other people. You have a choice about whether that's positive and charges them or negative and drains them. Okay? And you really, ideally, you don't ever want to leave it neutral. You just want to aim for energize that person. Okay? So you create energy. And then the final bit is this expertise. You have to demonstrate you're an expert in your field. So you know the market, you know the key people playing in the market, you know maybe some statistics, you maybe know about the latest properties, you might know about some of the vehicles like the right moves, the different platforms. You've got to demonstrate that expertise throughout that interaction with the customer. Okay? And if you're early on, it might feel like that's quite a challenge, but that's fine. It just means you will have to do some research. It just means you have to catch up with yourself and make sure that you build that knowledge, but continually building that knowledge, because this is what people are looking for. Sharp, positive and enthusiastic, and expert. Okay? And sometimes expert can mean we have incredible expertise in our team. If I don't know the answer right now, I can get back to you very, very quickly because somebody will know it. So there's always a way to handle that expertise if you don't feel like you've got it personally. Don't feel like that's a restriction or a constraint. It isn't, especially with the breadth of your experience in this work. Okay. So understanding that change is important. Your ability to change the way that you work is critical, because that's what's going to drive your results longer term. So I've talked about change and thinking about how you change going forward. Just have that, kind of hold on to that in your mind. Okay, another principle. Has anybody heard of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey?
No.
It's quite an established book, management book. But lots of stuff in here. There's one thing in here that's really important that he talks about. And he calls it the emotional bank account. And I don't know if you've heard of the emotional bank account. The emotional bank account is a reference to the relationships you have with either people you work with, or clients, or family, or friends, or anybody you like. If you think about those relationships as emotional bank accounts, okay? And your job is to make regular deposits in those accounts. So particularly important with clients. Your job is to make deposits in those accounts. Recognition, thanks, appreciation, gratitude, listening, supporting them, providing them with key insights and updates before they ask for it, being proactive with them. You make those regular deposits. You cannot withdraw unless you have sufficient credit, because if you try and ask for something from somebody and you haven't made the regular deposit or sufficient deposit, you go overdrawn in that relationship. And when you go overdrawn in that relationship, recovering it is really, really difficult. So if you ask for commitment too soon, if you ask someone for something before they're ready to give you it, you will go overdrawn. And if you do go overdrawn, you must pay it back as soon as possible. So think about this as like a current account. You have to have credit before you can make the draws. Thinking about different relationships, certainly with clients, if you've got an ongoing series of relationships with clients, think about where you are with each of those relationships. Actually, do I feel like I'm in credit or am I in debt with that relation, with that person? What can I do to increase the credit in that account? Yeah? Every one of your relationships with someone, you know, if you're in leadership with your team, if you've got clients with clients, actually, what do I do to get the balance up? Now, once you are in credit, your job is then to keep that account as a current account. So you earn the right to make requests. You earn the right to challenge people, to make, sometimes to be a bit direct. Actually, if the house has been on the market for a period of time and they're putting you under pressure, why haven't we sold it yet? Actually, you could be direct and said, you know I've done a lot, we've marketed, we've brought different viewers around, we've done X, Y, and Z. Actually, perhaps now is the time to start thinking about the price. And we wouldn't do that unless you wanted to sell quickly and we'd given it an ample opportunity to be on the market. But actually, perhaps you should start to think about the price. But it gives you can only have those conversations. You can only make requests, be direct, and take control of the relationship if you have credit in that account, the relationship account. If people trust you, if they feel like you've already delivered on their behalf. I know, again, it's obvious, but I see people trying to do this in shallow relationships where they haven't built the credit.
Yeah.
You must build the credit.
I've got a question around that,
Yeah.
if I may.
Please, yeah.
Just help the team as well. In terms of, let's say for an example, we've got a house on the market we've had no interest in. It's probably come on a little bit higher than we wanted it to come on at, but we've had no interest.
Yeah.
So in that particular instance, obviously it's quite challenging because we haven't got anything to give to them because we haven't had any viewings. The upshot of it is we have matched it, we have mailed it, we have done all of those things,
Yeah.
but what would you say in that scenario to do?
So you haven't had, you weren't somewhere where you weren't had any viewings?
Yeah,
Okay, and how much communication have you had with them throughout the
every
process?
single week.
Okay, and talking to them
Religiously.
about,
Just the market, what the market's doing, why we feel we haven't had any interest.
yeah.
So that would have been regular.
And what's there, in that situation, why have they priced it at a level that is perhaps higher than you would have liked?
So initially they came on the market and what they believed it was worth, and also the market where they are, it's a very exclusive road. So sometimes you can get it and sometimes you can't. But then we've also had this challenging of Brexit, so we think that high end has just stopped a little bit. So I mean it's at 600, and it's actually a friend of ours houses, which are why I asked the question.
Okay.
So it's around 650, isn't it, Meeting House?
Yeah.
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 So in that situation,
And had you right at the start, had you told them that was quite a challenging price to put on?
well, we can't do, there was comparables around that figure, but they said they thought that it wasn't worth as much as, let's say I valued this one. So they said, oh, that's great if we can get that. And I said, well, let's test it, let's see how we get on. But there was a gap there, but that gap doesn't appear to be there anymore. So when I originally valued it, they were kind of looking for 600. And I said, well, look, let's try it at 650 because I knew them, let's see, because it's a lovely road and et cetera, et cetera. And the location's very individual as well, because it's in a little village. But now, when we've gone back to them and kind of spoken to them and said we've tested it and we've done all those things, they now won't reduce the price, and it's just sat there.
So they now don't want to reduce the price?
No,
And what's the reason for that?
because they just said they'll just sit it out, they think it's Brexit.
Okay.
And we're like, well, it's not. But I mean, I actually haven't had those conversations with them, the team have, but that's just an example
Yeah.
of having no credit in your bank. Well, I guess I feel like we have got credit because we have marketed it, we have obviously given them regular feedback, but obviously, you know, the interest hasn't been forthcoming.
Yeah. I guess the question then is, well, if they're saying they want to sit and wait,
Yeah,
you've almost, it depends whether or not they're the ones pushing for a sale. If they're saying, well, I'm
No.
prepared to wait, maybe you have to just wear that.
yeah,
And
Okay.
that's your deposit in the account. So
Yeah.
do you know what, I will back you on this.
yeah,
But I would say to them, at what point would you look to review the price?
yeah,
At least ask that question.
yeah,
Because you won't have the conversation, it won't happen in one conversation, I doubt, but
No.
from what you've just explained.
yeah,
Your initial period is about saying to them, okay, this is great, we're with you, we're doing a lot of work on your behalf, as you know, so every time you talk to them, just go back through the things you've done.
yeah,
We've marketed it, we've mail shot it, you're on Rightmove, you know, all the things that you know, right, so just to give them that reassurance.
yeah,
And if you've got people coming through the door, and actually the team have, you know, a heightened sense of awareness around your house, when people come through the door, we're also mentioning your property,
yeah.
because that'll give them confidence, okay, you're doing things over and above what things
They're
I
premium
realise.
listed, they're featured property.
There you go.
We've given them all those products for free, so
So that's good, they're all deposits in the bank account.
yeah,
The question is, at what point would you like to have a discussion about the price then?
yeah,
And what is their time frame?
yeah.
Because that's the other question, what's their time frame for moving? Do they have one, is it are they
What's
testing
meant
the
to be will
market?
be.
That's what they said? Okay.
Now, bearing in mind, I haven't spoken to them, but they're very much, they move quite a lot, so they're very much like, you know, if it's meant to be, it will be, and if it's not, it's not, and that's the kind of reaction, yeah, which is fine if it, you know, it is what it is, but I think it's a good example of what's a common thing
Yeah.
that you guys experience, so, but it was just to perhaps also say, you know, like, even though we've had no viewings, we do still have those credits in the bank, like the premium listing, like the advertising, like the marketing. So when you start doing vendor control next week, as an example, that will help you.
Yeah.
I really like that
It's
analogy.
all
It's
that in the
really
notes
good.
as well.
Yeah,
All
I
that's
mean,
in there.
yeah, I can show you through all that and how
Yeah.
to do that. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, so
And I tell you the other thing, if you're not doing it already, is in that initial conversation, remember what people want is to have a sense that you are the expert and you're in control.
yeah,
So to have that conversation right at the start, let's talk about pricing and let's talk about our strategy. If we find we might need to review the price, at what point do you want to do that?
yeah,
What might our next move be? So you do it right up front.
yeah,
So it's not a surprise to them when you have the conversation because they're already preconditioned for it.
yeah,
So we're testing the market at 650 because we see value, we love your property, we think if the right person's out there, and remember the right person's got to be out there,
yeah,
because you're not miracle workers.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
The market is the market.
yeah,
You don't make the market.
yeah,
Sometimes you can shape it, but you can't make things happen. What you can do is be as present as possible.
yeah,
And when the right person is in the market looking, you can zoom in on them and bring them in, but they have to be in the marketplace.
yeah,
So actually, let's talk about our strategy going forward. So if we wanted to do something at some point to attract maybe buyers in a different level, where would we go? What would you say our first move should be? And let them tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we go 625, and then beyond that we'll look and say, okay, what you think in terms of timing? We're not going to do it right now. We're just going to, this is our planning. This is our planning, our approach.
Yeah.
So they start to come on board with you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So handle it right up front, so that you know when you have that discussion, when you're going back to the discussion, it's not a surprise to them or to you.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Good stuff.
Okay, so then we'll talk about preparation. So Ryan Reynolds says, I don't expect success, I prepare for it. Good old Ryan. So this is going to be obvious stuff, right? But let's just make sure that the bases are covered. So in terms of preparing yourself for conversations with clients, one of the things that I talk about is if the phone's going to ring or you're about to go in to see somebody or you know somebody's coming to see you, mentally prepare yourself. Yeah? I don't mean like sit there zoning out for an hour. I mean like give yourself, it can happen in 10, 15 seconds. Take a moment, breathe in, smile, right? So the breath in kind of fills you, oxygenates your blood, oxygenates your brain, makes you think more clearly, and as you breathe in, you automatically, when you breathe out, relax. If you take a deep breath, your body says, oh, that's a signal to relax, so you feel more relaxed. When you feel more relaxed, the blood circulation in your brain actually expands, which means you can think more clearly, and you can actually articulate things better. When you smile, it releases endorphins, which are feel-good chemicals, so it makes you feel good. Just smiling makes you feel good, as odd as that sounds, but it does. That's how we're wired. Think about being polite. I know, I've met you guys now, so I know you all will be, but polite, warmth. Think about oozing warmth. How do I ooze warmth to somebody so they really just feel welcomed by me, right? And be engaging and bright. Positivity we talked about. I want to leave someone better off from this conversation. That's how you prepare yourself for an engagement, right? So if you're, I don't know, do you guys pick up the phone in the office and stuff? I guess
Yeah.
you do, don't you? Yeah. Do you have a set script for that, or not a
No.
script? But do you say you must say name, company?
We do, yeah, we say Wilson's Estate Agents, good afternoon, how can we help you?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
We don't say our names, do we, at the moment?
I do.
I do.
Do you? Okay. Okay.
Good.
There we go.
Just Wilson, so speaking, how can we help you?
Yeah, we
Perfect.
speaking, how can I help you? Okay.
Perfect. Good. And I know that sounds, again, so bloody obvious, but you ring places and then they go, hello, sir, and you go, oh yeah, who am I speaking to? Someone should never have to ask who they're speaking to, right? Because immediately your customer is feeling uncomfortable, so they're having to ask things straight away. So
Yeah.
name, you've got it bang on. Hi, make sure you get all three in.
Yeah.
Your name, the company, and how can I help you. And really clearly, and whatever speed you're doing it at today, slow it down. Whatever speed you do, just slow it down. Because people won't always catch what you say straight away. And there's nothing worse than someone saying, hi, is that Wilson's estate agent? That's because they haven't heard what you said. So you want to make sure it's really clear. Pick up the phone, really clear, one and a half times slower than you're doing it today. So you don't have to go, hi, it's Justin. Right? But just, you'd be surprised how, once you're not into slow motion, but slowing it down and lowering the pace, just makes people feel like I understood it, I feel warmer and more welcome. Listen. So you said, how can I help you? Then listen. Oh, how can I help you? And then listen. Oh, and listen. Oh, and acknowledge. So you're going, oh, right, okay, yeah. Once they've told you their name, if they ask for their name if they haven't told you, oh, would you mind if I asked your name? Thank you. Use their name and acknowledge. So you're listening. You know, oh, okay, thanks, Joe. That's great. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. Use the name, acknowledge. Oh, right, okay. So I understand it. Take details. Be clear. Being clear, slowing down. Summarise. So if someone's told you, just quick summary of what they told you. So if I understand it, what you've told me is, and the difference that makes just on first engagement for you as an individual dealing with you and for the organisation is these people listen and they're clear and they understand and they tell me they've listened. by summarising, so what you've asked for is, and you'd like, someone's Joe, you've been dealing with Joe and you'd like Joe to give you a call, and as soon as he can, and it's about this, this and this. Oh right, yeah, that's right. It's so simple, but so often overlooked. So right up front, manage yourself so that any interaction you're always going to meet that interaction calm, relaxed, polite, oozing warmth, completely engaging, managing yourself. You're going to, you know exactly how to introduce yourself. You're going to slow that pace down. You're going to listen carefully. You're going to use their name as soon as you've got it. You're going to acknowledge, just through, as you're listening, just, oh yes, oh yeah, thank you, yes. Just continually acknowledge. You're going to ask open questions, which we'll talk about in our sales model, and then you're going to take details, be clear, and summarise. Okay? Then you're going to agree next steps and say thank you. Obvious, isn't it? So if you're not using that structure today, that's the structure that will commit your customers to a better relationship with you. And you'll engage them and get more commitment. Okay? Happy with that?
Yeah.
So again, I'll have this electronically. If we need to print off, it might be worth printing that off as a kind of leave piece. Okay. We're going to go into the process of it. Just based on what we've covered so far, so this is about priming for the sales process. What have you written down so far?
I'd probably say the unique questions that you mentioned at the start, where it gives you that unique appeal, because there's so much competition in the market, and by using that, it keeps them fresh in their mould more than anything.
Yeah.
And that obviously connects to the deposits as well, where you're keeping that relationship and you're maintaining your presence more than anything. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Joe. Excellent.
Thank you.
What else have we got?
I've popped down, ask anything you want, don't be afraid to ask anything at all, just to engage with them better. The one thing that I've got with the most so far is the emotional bank account. I've never ever thought about it in that way, but it's the best way to think about it, really, isn't it?
But when you're talking, there's a lot of relatable situations that you can relate to, and it kind of sort of sticks in your head because you're relating to a lot of it already. So a lot of it's sort of already there. It's just reminds you this is how it's going to happen.
Yeah, connecting the dots.
Definitely, but as you're talking, you're thinking scenarios you've been through recently, and you think, I can relate to that, I can relate to that, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
So it's all very good information that you think, we are doing it right, we are good.
Yes, good. Yeah, good. Good. Thank you. Maxine, what have you got?
I think I've got, just for the team really, I mean, I'm never afraid to ask a question, and I think that's just a big thing for me. You know that, guys, anyway, just we need to get the information, so just ask as many questions. Obviously, it unlocks your client's mind. The emotional bank account, I love that. That is just something that you can just relate to really quickly and use that in so many different circumstances, and it's easy to remember. Because I think obviously with sales training there's a lot that you kind of pick up, but that was just so useful. And the reason I used the ask questions around that example, it is quite a common thing, where we said, well, we'll just set it out, and a bit like you said, it's then to then say, well, actually, we'll what, in a nice way, at what point do we kind of say, well, this probably isn't going to happen, or whatever however we say it. And I've used it because Louise, with Gemma obviously going, Louise will be obviously looking to do vendor control. And I love that emotional bank account, because for you that's just, and for all of us, it's fantastic. And it's just something you can just quickly go, emotional bank account, have we got any credits? Or when you're going out and see someone new, you've got nothing. So it's all about the give, and then hopefully you get something back. So I really like that, and I've just got set a bit of a script for a telephone.
Good.
But
and it sounds like you guys are all doing the right things anyway in terms of the telephone. Maybe just think about that, pace and summarise, and then I'm sure you do this as well. But next steps, this is what I'm committing to do. So you summarise, and then I'm going to do this. And thanks for the call. Thanks for calling us. Thanks for trusting us. Thanks for choosing us. Whatever you decide, because that also makes such a difference.
You see how I do that, and you kind of you forget what you do, and this is obviously why we're here, because it's all well and good, because I kind of I'll go into a conversation and I'll do things, but that autopilot.
You're unconsciously competent, yeah.
What I did notice on that as well, with the phones, is probably referring back to that video that he sent through, was the mimicking almost, and that reflection, and matching the mirror between what they're saying and how they're saying it, and how kind of sussing out what character they are, and almost matching that, and it has proven to be very beneficial.
Good.
I've
You
been
can
testing
weigh
it a little bit, and
You
Excellent.
can weigh people up though, can't you? You talked to us to sort of how you can be with them.
Yeah.
You can weigh people up pretty quickly,
you almost know
can't you?
who wants to listen, who doesn't, but the people who don't want to listen, it's how you react to that and how you engage from that.
Yes.
So yeah, thought it was really
Good. And we'll cover that as we look at rapport as well. So
Yeah.
one of the techniques is around matching and mirroring, and how do you get really effective at that.
Yeah.
And it is more difficult on the phone
It is.
because you're not
Yeah.
actually physically in front of somebody to be able to do the body language part of it, but there are ways to do it. Okay, good. So you've got reflections. Is there anything you need to change right now, based on that first bit? Is there anything you need to change in terms of your approach?
What as a personal level, following that.
Yeah.
I think there's certainly a few points. It's the reason the sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just making sure that you. So that question is specific to get you to think. Okay, right. So I'm learning this. What will I do?
Yeah.
Rubber hits the road when you go, right, what do I do? We don't want to do it all at the end of the day and go, right, make a list. We'll probably 5-6 times during the course of the day, we'll just stop and go, right, okay, what does this mean? What's the key learning? What do you think you might need to do?
My
Yeah.
biggest thing to change would be the client's biggest concern. Normally I look at it as a way, what they're wanting to do and what they're wanting to achieve and how I can help them do that,
Yeah.
not necessarily what's their biggest concern. So that's going to be something new that's going to be really useful to work around other agents as well, that they might not be doing it.
Yeah. And continue with what you were doing.
Yes, but just add that little bit
Perfect.
in.
Yeah.
So that you're playing both sides of that motivation.
That's it.
Yeah.
Towards and away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Good.
I mean, as I say, I think a lot of the things are there, and it's just pushing up, isn't it? And
Yeah.
and
Polishing.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
lovely
yeah.
word.
That's a nice word. Yeah, polishing the car. Yeah. It's polishing the car. Yeah, perfect. Okay, we're going to carry on. Everyone okay?
I just want to go to the toilet.
Yeah,
That's
do you
okay.
want to take a 5-minute break?
Does everyone want a drink? Do you want a cup of tea or?
Yeah, well, I'll have a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Shall I go and see Donna and ask?
Yeah.
Does Donna do it?
Yeah.
Or is there a kitchen?
Shall I ask whether we should do it ourselves or?
Yeah, let me do that. I'll go and
You
have a
sure?
look.
Okay.
Stretch.
Yeah, literally.
They are the comfiest seats I've sat on the whole entire.
Thank God.
Oh dear.
He is good.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, I do hear everybody doing anyway. It is just a case of knowing you're on the right track and
That's it, yeah.
just the extra little bits you can add in.
I think it's like the thing where he says the common sense and common practice. I
Yeah.
think we all know it,
Yeah.
we just don't necessarily apply it all the time.
And not necessarily to every customer exactly the same.
Yeah, it's
More or
consistency.
less
isn't
like
it?
it can slip sometimes on the phone.
I suppose it
Yeah.
depends on the quality of conversation as well, though. If it's not a
That's it.
particularly quality conversation, you do
Yeah.
struggle to then go into the extra questions because you don't feel